Hello. Well, that's a start. That's a thing. I was playing a little bit with the vector before I started the stream, and that's this guy. And here, since I haven't improved my camera situation, oh no, I'm dropping things. Oh God. Yeah, so the vector is a sequencer, and it's a really, really nice sequencer. It's basically, arguably the most powerful Eurorack sequencer that you can get. It's got some seriously crazy, interesting features. I mean, it's like it's hard to describe. Lots of like probability stuff, and it's just really, really interesting stuff. You know what? I need to change this microphone position a little bit because I keep. Oh God! I keep blowing into it. You know. You know, what's really interesting is I had zero problems with this until I touched it. Wow, that's super horrible. Okay. Oh my God. Okay. Not touch it. I had an SM7, and now I've got a little Shure condenser mic, because the actual owner of the SM7 got it back, which is very sad. No, what I want to try, I'm going to depatch this completely and start from scratch, but I wanted to try something. And that was, okay, first of all, we're going to take the clock out of the vector. Now, theoretically, okay, so theoretically, that clock pulse should be going into the tempi and controlling it. And so I should be able to take that output and put it into the Turing machine. And then every once in a while, it'll spit out a pulse. So what I really want it to do, I want to send a modulation signal into the vector sequencer. Okay, that's the ultimate goal here. And make the modulation signal transpose it. Maybe like up an octave or up or down an octave. And I haven't really worked with the modulation stuff on here like that. So I'm not really sure what it responds to. If it responds to like a gate, like on, I don't think it does. I think it's just an absolute voltage. So essentially, I'm going to need to either have an envelope trigger that, or an LFO. Like a ramp LFO that's just going like pew and then down. So we'll take the number one pulse out here. Let's try it with the envelope first. And I've got these two new envelopes. I got these little, time for camera work here. I got these two little bitty 2 HP ADSR envelopes that actually work. They work quite nicely. So we're going to take that pulse out into this guy. Nah, we'll just put it in the regular one. All right, so this is just trigger. So with the trigger input, it's just an ADR. It's not an ADSR. So sustain, which I rarely use anyways, to be honest. Okay, that's a lot of pulses in a row. Okay, so yeah, I want the probability kind of lower so that it just occasionally goes plip and it kicks it up an octave. All right, so then we'll take the output of that guy and we'll go into the mod input of this. And then we go under modulation. And we look past the subsequences and we say modulation external. We can have it do direction. Length, rate? No. Probability ratcheting. Start position. Where is the... step repeat. Step length. Oh, it doesn't look like you can do that. Can I not do... Oh, I know. Here's what I would have to do. There's no direct target for transpose, which is too bad. That'd be kind of cool. But what I could do is probability. Okay, so external 1. All right, so that's good. And then if we look at the chance thing, I would have to set these guys to different note values and stuff. And I think that's what this does. Okay, so then what we do then, theoretically, I should be able... Oh, crap, I just screwed up. Okay, I should be able to take the probability down to 0, theoretically, and then hit run. Doesn't seem like it's doing anything. Sounds nice, though. Okay, now I'm curious. Is this even putting out, like, a decent voltage? Yeah, it's pretty good. It's going up to right about 5 volts peak. Okay, so this should be responding to that. So why aren't you? Why are you doing nothing? Why are you being a weirdo? Maybe there has to be, like, some probability in general. Like, there has to be a little bit. Let's see what happens. Oh, I see. It's going up by octaves? That's cool. Okay. Yeah, I think that's what it's doing. I think this is sending it to maybe a random node in the scale? I don't know. I need to actually look up the information online about this. Like what those particular things do. I remember seeing it in the manual, but I've had this thing for over a year, and I really have not dug into it deep enough. Okay. Let's depatch and repatch and start from scratch. And yeah. All that happy horse shit. How's everybody this evening? How's your brain? Is your brain working? I'm in the Chicago area, and we got... man, that plug is stiff. We got dumped on last night. Sort of. I mean, obviously there's been much, much worse, but we got about 6 inches or so. But then it was freezing rain, so there's like a nasty-ass crust of ice over everything, and then it was like 37 degrees, and now it all froze. So everything's an ice rink outside. And I'm really happy I have an all-wheel drive car. Yeah. I made this commitment when I first started getting into modular to never, ever pull a cord out by the cable part. And for the most part, I stick to that pretty closely. Some of these cables, by the way, in case you didn't notice, are basically permanent fixtures. And that's because they're either... Dang it, I keep breathing into the microphone. They're either like these. All of these cables are over here are send and return cables. And everything, like these guys, these are little drivers. This is weird. So I bought this thing. I bought this oscillator. And it turns out that you really can't use it correctly unless you also buy an oscillator driver, which really sucks. So then I'm like, well, should I return it or should I just get the driver? And then I kind of looked into it a little bit more, and it turns out the driver will actually drive like 4 oscillators, which means you could plug in like one input and have 4 oscillators controlling or playing the same note, which would be a really, really cool sound. But then, of course, I'm going to need 3 more of these modules, and they would have to be like blah, 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 like stacked up. And I really don't have the space for that. I have the space for maybe 1 more. I'm thinking about ditching this MIDI port completely, though, because, to be honest, I don't know if I've ever even used it. It came with my preset, my pre-made system that I got, all the red modules. Okay. So what should we do? What should we do? Let's slow down Tempe because it's going to give me a fucking seizure. I do like my randomness. And I really liked messing with that Instruo oscillator last time. That thing was super, super cool. So I'm thinking I'm going to set up something super bizarre. Like, I don't know. Let's experiment. New modules, by the way. I also got this guy, which is the Erica Synths Black Hole DSP2, which is really nice. It's pretty good at a bunch of different things, which is kind of, I don't know, I have to say, it's kind of what I feel about the Tip Top ZDSP. Like, part of me wants a really, really dank delay in here. Like, you know, something that can do like 1.5 seconds, like ridiculous kind of shit. And, yeah, neither of these really do that, which is, I don't know. Maybe I'm just expecting too much. I don't know. Let's try something weird. Okay, first of all, we don't need this sub, and we don't need that guy on. Let's reset this guy back to kind of like normal here. It's like a mixing board. You've got to zero it out every time because there's so many controls on this thing. So this, if you don't know, this is a complex oscillator. And a complex oscillator is 2 oscillators in one. So, for example, if I put that, okay. So that's just a sine wave, regular old sine wave output, right? Checking my levels and stuff here, making sure everything is, it's not blowing your ears out. It could. I got plenty of headroom to go here. Now, the thing about a complex oscillator, since there's multiple oscillators in one, you can use one of these to cross-modulate the other one. And vice versa. They can modulate each other. So if I take the sine out or the triangle out on the bottom one, I should be able to get pretty much the exact same tone, right? If I kind of make a match. Oh, that's interesting to know. I didn't know that. I did not know that they were like an octave apart by default. That's kind of strange. Now, why is that like on? Like all the way. What's that all about? Anyways, so what also this thing has in it though, right, is wave folders for for each of these oscillators. Here, let me put it through the scope. We'll put it through the scope also, which does make it a little bit easier to kind of see what's happening, which is why we have a scope. Although the data does so much more. Time, millisecond, 2 volts, 5 volts, 1 volt. Let's do 1 volt. Time. Trigger auto? No. Norm. Why is it not displaying right? What is going on? Oh, well, it's because... There, that's why. It's because the volume's not up much. Okay, we'll AC couple, and then... And now, as you do the wave folder... There, you can kind of see it a little more now. So then as you do, and so on. If you just do the regular sine output, then you got a nice happy sine wave. But again, you can, so if I sine wave output, that top one is not quite a perfect sine wave, not quite. But what you can do is FM. So you can see the wave doing the little jiggly dance there. All right, so... Hey, what's up, Ian? Well, yeah, this is my baby. I've been building it for about 3 years now. I just, I haven't really showed it on stream before until I upgraded my Wi-Fi antenna on my computer here. And that made a massive, massive difference. So yeah, so if I turn up the FM, so now the lower oscillator is FMing the top one, which means essentially like when you have it super low like this, it's an LFO, right? Now if you change the output of the wave, so yeah, it's kind of crazy. And then of course, the top oscillator can then re-FM the bottom oscillator, so you get like a feedback loop of madness. Yeah, it's capable just in that one module of just some supremely outrageous stuff, and I like that. It's nifty. Now, there's also a ton of controls that you can do. So, for example, if we just do some LFOs, so we can set an LFO up just to do that. Or make it go even longer. There's a really interesting harmonic in there. There's like this. How goes the land of Ireland? Okay, so that's too much. So if we want to reduce it, we have to either run it through a VCA or right here through an attenuator. Which is why I stuck my attenuators right next to it. Because that thing puts out a massive signal. And in fact, I think it actually puts out up to 10 volts. Which you can set on a jumper in the back. So now that's a heck of a lot more manageable. The rig modulate between the two, which in and of itself could be also modulated. So let's do that from here. That's not what I was looking for. Yeah, I'm not sure how I would do this if I had a decent camera set up, because it would have to be like right where my head is. So I don't really suspend it from above, like right here, like in the air or something. I don't know. It would be weird. But I need a new tripod is what I really need. I need a tripod with like a 90-degree head that comes out so I can have the camera facing down from above and then just flip the image. Yeah, because I have like no way to get the camera closer. And if it's here closer, it's going to be on the like a side view. Like if it's like there, then you end up missing half of it. Yeah, what I really need to do is just get myself another mirrorless camera. Find a used one, maybe. Anyways, this is going to get annoying for people. Alright, so that's not really what I wanted to do. That's more like what I wanted to do. Okay. Now the final sort of like insult to injury of this patch would be throw this sucker through the wave folder. Warning, warning, potentially harsh sounds approaching. Warning, warning. All right, now this we need to control this, right? So let's see. What would be cool is to have just a little pulse every once in a while of some random horrible sound that's being generated in the instruo. Okay, so what we need for that is a VCA. So we'll take a VCA here, signal in, and then we'll get some gain going on that guy. All right, so then what we need is the VCA out. Right? Are you there? Oh, that's right, I shut it off. Okay, but we're going to get a control from that happy little ADSR envelope right next to it. So we'll take an output of that guy, modulation in. And then, let's see. Let's give it a randomized source here. If I take the pulse out from B, I should be able to trigger an envelope with that. Yes? It's kind of strange as it does not seem to be doing that. Why? There should not be any slew. There should only be a pulse rate or a little output here. Okay, let's do it a little bit differently. Let's take the pulse from here. And we'll see if we can't go like this. Except what we need is the B. Flux out. Is that the one? Oh my gosh, I don't know. Toggle? Which one does this shit? It doesn't seem like it's doing anything that I want it to. B pulse out. Again, it's not really, doesn't really seem like it's actually doing anything. Okay, you know what? Let's just run the we'll just run the clock off of the tempi. Slow it way down. So then every once in a while, it should get a pulse. Yeah, like that. To just... like that. So that it just chirps the envelope. Yeah, unfortunately, if I do the tripod mounted on the top, I'm gonna have to get a new camera for that. This webcam is damaged. The little hinge that holds it up and down is broken. What's up, Joe's gun? I'm making weird noises tonight. I kind of did this with my other streaming, too. Every time I streamed, I try to do one thing a little bit better. So today I have a different microphone setup, but I also have headphones on. And that helps. Okay, so let's bring another level into this thing. Let's put it into a filter. In fact, let's do something a little different. Let's do a bandpass filter, and let's modulate it. First of all, let's hear that thing. Yeah. That's that growly thing that I would love to hear some more of. Let's throw another one of these, oh, it's just barely no. Damn you, short cable. That's too short. Mother puss bucket. Okay. Hey, what's going on, BRS? What's happening? No. I have not done a lot of gaming, and I'm stuck. I'm completely stuck. And I'm not really going to apologize for it. You know, here's the deal. When I game now, I'm watching a movie. I'm like diving into movie land. And it's, I don't know. I'm a movie buff. And so I can't play a game that demands my attention that much. So Noita, Slay the Spire, and maybe some Diablo 3. Yeah. Torchlight 2. And Stranded Deep. I've already got those. I've got both of those. Stranded Deep was pretty fun. It just reminded me of Subnautica too much. Subnautica was a great game, though. Kind of wanted to get Subnautica Sub-Zero, but I'm not sure. So this is a generative patch. Okay, so when people talk about generative patches, keep in mind, like, what's happening here. I'm not playing anything. I didn't sequence anything. This is strictly being generated by probability. So the probability that the envelope triggers is governed right over here. Like a KitchenAid stand mixer or like an audio mixer? Because I tell you, I was happy as hell when I got my KitchenAid stand mixer. I cook also. Hey man, just because you're vegetarian doesn't mean you can't eat bread. It's one of the finest things in life. Fresh baked bread. I make a rosemary olive oil loaf that's just... Seriously, I make a loaf, and within an hour, it's half gone. And it's just so fucking good. If I had to go vegetarian, I would have to move next to an Indian restaurant. Because I love me some Indian food and Thai food. And you can go tofu. Tofu fried in like a wok at really high heat with some sesame oil. It's actually pretty tasty. Here, hang on one second. There you go. There we go. We had to put the dank lighting on. I kind of alternate. I mean, like, I generally... There's maybe 1 or 2 nights a week or two that I might eat nothing but meat. But then there's equal numbers of nights like that where I won't eat any meat at all. Or days, you know, whole days, not just nights. Well, this is really interesting. I like this. You know what? Let's do one extra thing. Let's put a really, really slow LFO on the resonance of the filter. Oh, what did I just take this out? Oh, shit. Oh, shit. What is this? What is this? This is the... Oh, it's the filter input. Okay. Just pull a random chord out. No! The learning curve is interesting. Okay? And it's really on a per module basis. Some stuff is super basic. Once you have it, you have it. Once you know ADSRs and envelopes and stuff, you know what they do. So any ADSR, okay, here's one, there's another one. I've got 4 of them in here, okay? They all work the same. They have an input, they have an output. Once you know what a VCA does, it does the same thing. It's the bigger modules. They take a lot more of a learning curve. But once you start getting more stuff, you realize what each thing can do for other stuff. So it's a very neural network kind of a thing. A VCA is a voltage-controlled amplifier. It's just an amplifier. It's super simple. Here. Time for Moog Lee's Modular Course, Volume 1. What's an oscillator? Okay. So if I take my let's say I just take this oscillator out here. Okay. And then I'll put the input into my mixer. Okay, so there it is. All right. So you can kind of see, you can see the waveform and so on and so forth. Right. All right, so there's our nice happy waveform. Actually, let's put that, can we go even lower with the voltage? Yeah, we can. Nah, that's okay. It's going to get louder. All right, but that oscillator can vibrate at LFO range, where you can't even hear it, right? Like way down there. Okay, so if I put the output of that into a VCA, okay, and then I put it into my mixer. There's no difference. Okay. The difference is that it's voltage controlled. Okay. So now I can run a voltage into it, a CV, control voltage. Okay. And that control voltage can come from wherever the fuck you want. Here, I'm going to use this sequencer. Okay. So this sequencer is just, I don't know what it's on. It's on random things. Hit go. Single, repeat, start, stop. We'll turn the tempo up here. Now, I don't know if you can hear it. Okay. So whatever voltage the sequencer is set at, it's telling the amplifier at that stage, like, here's 3 volts, here's 4 volts, here's 2.496 volts, you know, whatever it happens to be spitting out. Now that means that the amplifier's like, okay, 0 to 5 volts, this is the level of 0 to 100% volume. Okay. Now that control voltage can be applied to like anything. Here, we can apply it to the oscillator itself. Right? So now we have pitches. Now we can apply that same control voltage to a filter. Let's use the saw out though. It's going to be a little bit brighter, going to be a little bit easier to hear. Okay. So now we'll take the output of that and we'll go into our filter. So we add one more link to the chain. This is how patches get so freaking huge, man. It's like you're like, well, actually I need to do this. And then okay, so now could put it on 24 dB. So now that same sequencer voltage is affecting the filter. Now you could do both. You could take that CV output. In fact, why not do it? So if I take this CV output and I can do a bunch of shit to it now. I could use a stackable okay, which is a cable that looks like this. Which lets you put a second cable into it. Okay, so that's honestly the easiest way to do it. I also have mults. A mult is you hook one thing up to it and it multiplies it 3 times, or in the case of my buffered mult, one thing can go to like 7 or 11 different copies of itself, which is pretty sweet. So yeah, there's that. There's also just a regular passive mult up here. You hook one up, and again, you can have 3 copies of it or whatever. Those are like super basic utility modules. They're just basically wiring. There's nothing special. The buffered mult has an actual amplifier in it, so you don't get any voltage drop. But for stuff like pulses, in a lot of cases, you can just use a regular mult, it doesn't even hook up to power in the back. It's just this little tiny module with like no cables hanging from it or anything. Anyways, so we're going to take this voltage output and we're going to put it into, I don't know. We can just use let me think, a stackable reach. I actually have another type of this. One type is made by Hosa, one type is made by Tip Top. The Hosa ones have this really long pigtail coming out of it, and it goes to 2 different places. So it's like this. So one of these, oh no, my microphone. There. I said I wasn't going to touch the microphone because it's all screwed up someplace. Brand new fucking cable. It's already shit. Okay, but see, now we've got this extra thing that we can put someplace else. Like, we could put it into the effects. Now that would be kind of cool. We should try that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull these guys, the send, out. And I'm going to take this this sound is going to go directly into my effects unit, the new one. And then we'll take a stereo pair, output into these 2 inputs, because I've already got them hard panned left and right for just this purpose. Okay. Does the voltage get affected the more you add? It can, yes. Specifically on mults and stuff. You might find a slight voltage drop if you divide something up. And that's because of like the impedance of the cables and connections and stuff like that. Yeah. The answer is yes, which is why you use a buffered mult. Okay, because again, so if I took this signal and I plug it into my buffered mult right here, you can actually see it lighting up in the sequence of the voltages that the sequencer is putting out. And you can see it kind of. Now you can see it. Probably couldn't see shit before. I really just need a head-mounted, I don't know, GoPro, essentially. You know, that's not the worst idea. I have a shitty aftermarket GoPro sitting at home. I should just use that. And it's got a wide-angle lens, too. But it is a shitty aftermarket GoPro. Okay. What I was going to say, though, is to take this signal and this CV control from the sequencer and use it to change the effect. So we can use it to change a lot of stuff. Dry wet. Except then you'll see me vaping and everything else. Yeah, this is all coming from one thing. All from one oscillator. So this all started, that's the thing about this type of thinking is like it branches off. It's like a spider web. You're like, here, I'm gonna do a thing, and then that like leads you somewhere else, and that leads you somewhere else, and that leads you somewhere else. And it's a really it's cool to just get lost in it. Now, of course, while we're here, and as long as we're running in stereo, we should hook this up to the clouds and, yeah, add in some cloudy goodness. This just started as a demonstration, and now it's just like, hey, see what I mean? It's so easy to get lost. Clouds tends to lose a little bit of signal. There we go. And I have to say, too, some of these things are so mysterious, like clouds. Clouds is a great example. It is a weird module. And then, of course, we can put some reverb through it as well. That might be a little much. Hey, what's up, Brandon? Yeah, let's bypass the clouds. You know what? Fuck the clouds. Right in their cloudy whatevers. Yeah, this started as a demo patch, so I think I'm gonna unpatch this entire thing. And we do still have this weird thing going, though. Yeah, I mean, if you like this stuff, there's VCV Rack. The VCV Rack is free. And it can run as a VST. And they just released every single Instruo module on VCV for free. Which is like super dope. There's some stuff on there that that they charge for, like extra packs and stuff. Like, here's the VCV version of, I don't even know. I don't know what is on there anymore. I haven't used it in a while. But it is a very, very capable program. It works extremely well. Okay, I think everything else here is just for what's happening right now. It's just for this weird thing. So I should go in. Yeah, Jolskin, you could do that. You could combine DAW and modular, and there's a lot of modules that do that, like the Expert Sleepers, ES9. And I have to say, I don't know if Reason does too well with this. I've never tried it. Which is like, I know Ableton has a thing where it'll interface with your ES9. ES9 is a USB in, and then it has control voltage outs or ins, so you can do cross modulation and stuff. And then you can have it send clock and have everything clocked to your DAW. Which, I mean, I can do that too. I do have the MIDI port up there. I could take a clock out of my computer into the MIDI port, distribute it through here, do stuff with it, and have it all synchronized. Okay, let's build another voice here. And I think I do like the Metropolis sequencer. It is really fun. That's this guy right here. So let's what should we do with it though? Okay, let me get a long green pair here. Gate, pitch. Let's just do pitch for now. And let's bring it into... I don't fucking know. Let's use the Platts. Okay. Platts is really, really nice. Okay, and we'll also throw a gate into there as well. All right. Somebody pick a key and a scale. Oh, I just put the gate into the fucking... Okay, we can do it there. And then we need the output into the mixer. D minor. Okay, so then camera time. Whoa! So here we have the Metropolis sequencer. Yes. Yes. And so we go and root, and we'll put this D. Okay, scale. Should we do minor or should we do Dorian? Let's do Dorian. That's close to minor. Make sure that my clock is internal, which I'm pretty sure it's internal. And we can send out clock divisions. So if we send out like a pulse from this thing, we could send it to the tempi and then just redistribute it from there and have it control other modules, which is fun. So then here's your pitch. Each of these is your pitch, and as you dial it up and down, it shows you the pitch on the left. It'll stay quantized in that scale. So theoretically, this should just go. Yeah, that B is not, that's not happening. We're an F. Okay. What's the BPM? Oh, really freaking slow. Now the cool thing, of course, you can do is like you can turn on slides, change the slide time. Change the gate time. Okay, so that's the basics. What am I running over? Oh, of course. Why wouldn't I be? Why wouldn't I be running over the microphone cable with my chair? Something that, as Jake from Signal's Music Studio knows, tweaks me out. All right, so we have our basic sequence. There it is. Let's just listen to the same thing for 20 minutes now. Just kidding. So there's a couple of things that I really like about each of these things. The Metropolis is, I guess it's not really my favorite sequencer. That's definitely the Vector. I also really, really like this simple little Behringer sequencer, which is an 8 or it's either 2 8 steps or 1 16 step. Or you can change it to less than that, of course. And it's very, very simple. So it's useful for lots and lots of little things. Okay, so if I take the clock out of this thing and I run it into the tempo in, hit play. Okay, let's change these clock divisions going out. Yeah, that's better. Let's do 2. Okay. That gives us a much more manageable tempo. Yeah, you can each one of these is quantized, but the scales you can do, you can do whatever you want. You want to do chromatic? You can do whatever you want. But here's the weird thing, right? It totally depends on if your oscillator is tuned. All right, so your oscillator doesn't recognize what A, B, C, D, E, F, G are necessarily. Okay, some of mine do, like my the Bifaco one that I built up here. This guy, this is actually calibrated, although there is a fine tune on it. So it's analog, so it's not gonna be perfect. Now, one of the cool things this thing will do, of course, is it'll do ratcheting. If I can fucking remember how to put it in. Is it hold? No. What is it? Okay, I gotta look it up because I should know that. Intelligel Metropolis ratchet. How do you do the ratcheting? How do you do the ratcheting? I went through the total pain in the ass of upgrading the firmware on this sequencer, which was a total pain in the ass, let me tell you. Holding a stage button and turning the encoder. Hey, think twice. What's going on? Okay, so if I hold the stage button and I turn the encoder. Oh, there it is. Well, that was easy. Yeah, so now you can ratchet up to 4. Now, you also can spend up to 8 steps on each of these. So if I put this at like a 5. Oh, that's weird. But see, then I can change the type of strike that it does. That's excessive. Okay. Now, we can change the internal clock so it'll run twice as fast. And then it's obnoxious. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we go. So now it's 8 beats worth. Well, now this is just the sequence. We haven't even touched the oscillator yet. Okay, so this oscillator, this is Platts by Mutable Instruments. And it's ridiculous. It has 16 modes. Including a chords mode. Including a vocal mode. Let's play with that. Because you know where we're going with this. Let's get a really slow LFO. Like 1, 2. No, Joskin, the notes that it plays are dependent on your sequencing. Yeah, it has vocal formant stuff built in, like a speak and spell. Yeah, so it's pretty interesting. That's my space bleeps. But, so obviously then we could take that sound and we could put it, you know, into something else. A filter would be a logical thing to do. Well, I guess we'll use the Mankato, since the other super controllable one is being used right now. And that's okay. Let's use the 6 dB filter. It's actually really interesting. Feedback, it comes so early on this filter. It's really interesting. Okay, so then we can take, remember that that clock that we put in here? That's also going to control the sequencer, trigger in, so steps. So now you can see the lights. The lights on those sequencers are synchronized, which is a really, really cool thing. Control voltage doesn't have any latency. So, like, within a system, you know, you can have clocks that are pretty much perfectly synchronized. The latency comes from the device itself reading that actual voltage and stuff. Put it in the 18 dB, give it a little bit more balls. Did you know that Jeff is, like, leaving town for a couple of months? Yeah, you knew that. You were there when he said. I would say give it to me as the last thing, and then I can make some sort of fabric that you can weave through the rest of the production. Yeah, so he might not even be here anymore. I don't even know. I thought he left, like, already. Yeah, I'm looking back. Think twice. You absolutely nailed it. Yeah, it's a thin line between interesting and shit. To me, it's like all about your effects. If you have a nice sounding delay or reverb. Yeah, I could plug this into my Reason setup. Either just through audio or, again, actually the vector sequencer, I can actually plug this. If you notice, it's got 2 USB ports. It's got a device and a host port. So you could plug like a key step or something into it directly, and it'll power it from there. Little Car Plus Strong synthesis. By the way, the delay that you're hearing, that is the Black Hole DSP set to granular delay. It's like my favorite program on there. It just sounds so nice. You can bit crush it too. Well, in the interest of let's do something here. What could we use for this? Okay. I'm going to set up a quick bass patch. I'm really trying not to breathe into my microphone, but my SM7 that I had been using borrowed is gone, alas. As Dr. Freshenstein says, the SM7 is thug. And I would tend to agree. And then I said, if I buy one, I will have to buy 3. Because 1 for home and then 2 for the studio. for like podcasting or general use. That seems mandatory. It seems like you'd have to buy 3, and then now you're talking, $1,200, and no. Just no. Okay, let's do a thing here. Let's do a square wave bass. Kind of just like just bass, super basic. I mean, I could sequence something, I guess. I could sequence something. I mean, I haven't mastered this. That's the funny thing. In fact, today I spent about 2 hours just playing around with a vector sequencer and learning new things about it. So it's extremely long term. And then every time you throw a new module in there, it's like you've completely changed all of your variables or added new ones. And then it's like, oh, new variables equals new equation. So it's an interesting process. It really tweaks it hits me right at my gear acquisition syndrome, because like literally you spend, and let's face it, in terms of music gear and synths, $200 or $300 is not that much money compared to what you can spend on anything. Guitarists, like a lot of guitarists that I've known are like, oh, I have like 14 guitars. I'm like, for good guitars, $2,000 a pop and up. A pedal, just a guitar pedal. That shit's expensive now, man. So this is interesting because like even the really good, like the vector sequencer is the most expensive module in here. This was, I think, $700 when I got it. Okay. Everything else it hovers around $300. Some's more. The sequencers are more. The Metropolis is more. The Instruo module is more. No, man, you should get a microcosm pedal. I don't even play guitar, and I have a couple of okay guitars. But I kind of bought them for general studio usage here. Okay, what are we going to do? We're going to get a longer fucking cable for one thing. And we're going to go output of that filter. Oh, God. Let's just get a long-ass cable. Output of that filter. Okay, so there's our basic square wave output. Okay. Let's take an LFO and go into the PWM. So now and that's going to the Bifaco module. I built that myself. Damn you, it won't let me show the chat messages. What the hell? It's not letting me show your email, dude, sorry. It won't let me actually display that comment. Okay, so what are we going to do here? We're going to take, we're going to do two things. We're going to take the tempi out. Okay. And we're going to just run it into a fast ADSR envelope. Real quick decay here. So let's go like twice as fast as the tempo. And then so like 1, 2. All right, and then run that envelope out into the filter. Anyway, it's Jake at signalsmusicstudio.com is his address. That's Jake at signalsmusicstudio.com. Anyway, so there's a little bass voice. Let's add in another LFO to that. And I'm going to need to put that LFO through a resistor because it's way too hot. Okay. Oh my god, cable fucking hell. I love it. Wasp filter. It's naughty sounding. I would actually love to do reviews for a living. So So this is kind of nice. I think the thing that still kind of boggles my mind a little bit about Eurorack is how people can make like entire songs like with a form and everything just using like Eurorack stuff. And especially like with the vector, I could do that. But my God, the time differential between doing it here and doing it in a DAW, you know, it's 50 to 1. But then again, I spent my hours as a kid practicing, you know. It's not a bad idea. John. What's going on? I was actually just about ready to sign off, unfortunately. How many watts do I need to run the system? I think this case is about 800 watts total. Now that's max draw, and obviously, well, not obviously, but I'm not there yet. So yeah, it depends. That's the only part of Eurorack that's a little bit tricky, especially if you're building your own. So this is a custom case. This is a guy, Case from Lake, in Italy, and he custom builds everything. So I was like, 5 rows, 120 HP, and give me big dank power supplies inside. So there's actually 4 power supply units inside of this. And then they each have their own bus strip. You can kind of make it out here. Hang on, I've got a ring light. Nah, you can't really see shit. Well, you can kind of see the bus behind that cable right there. So the bus is they're 20 pin. Yeah, that's a better view. So there's the power supplies down there, and he did a really good job with wiring, neatness of it, and everything. There's one of the bus strips. So it's like a 20 pin ribbon cable with a notch in the side. It's supposed to be parallel or polarized correctly, but you got to be careful. So that's like way inside the back of this thing here. And then that's the back end of modules. Oh yeah, that's right. This is just a blank plate. This was a guy's business card from Starling Modular. He's like, yeah, we don't have any business cards, so we just bought a bunch of blank face plates, and we put stickers on them. And I thought that was interesting. It was an expensive and imaginative way of coming up with a business card. Now that you've been deep inside of my modular, are you gonna buy at breakfast in the morning? Deep inside you. Well, hello and goodbye. I'm going to hit the road. I'm going to take off. And thanks for joining me. I think the next time I stream from here, I'm going to try a different camera setup. Maybe I'll try the aftermarket GoPro, see what happens. But I'm going to need another tripod. I can use a mic stand for now. So we'll try that first, and we'll see what happens. Anyways, see you next time. Probably not until after New Year's. Maybe Friday night. I don't know. That might be a good time to do another stream from here. And that'll give me a second to try to rig that camera up. So, anyways, yeah, have a good night. Have a good New Year, everybody.